Hi, it's Friday, January 21st, and I continue to read and wonder my way through the book of Genesis. And today it's Genesis chapter 31, verses 1 through 21. And leading up to this, you may recall that Jacob was ready to leave, right? He's got 12 kids, 11 boys and a girl. It's time to go. He's done his 14 years, right? 7 for each of Laban's daughters, each of his wives. And it's time to go home. But Laban realizes that he's done well with Jacob basically managing the flocks. And so he negotiates to get Jacob to stay. So Jacob agrees to stay, but wants to increase his household, as it were. And so comes to an agreement where they'll divide the flock, right? So the striped, the speckled livestock, they'll be Jacob's. The others that aren't striped, aren't speckled, they will then go with Laban. And so in a weird way, over time, what we're saying is we'll let God decide, because you don't know for sure whether the offspring will be speckled or single colored, all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of an agreement that just says, yeah, and then over time we'll just let it work itself out. Laban agrees, thinks this is a great idea, says yes, absolutely, and then immediately tries to gimmick the system by having all the striped and the speckled ones moved far away from the flock, so that then as the flock grows, they will not be speckled or striped. However, Jacob, always the trickster, he has a unique way of breeding in such a way that he is able to strengthen and breed the striped and the speckled and let the other ones sort of wither. And so basically he beats Laban at his own game. He does a better job of it. And that's where we are. Okay, so they had a deal. Both of them cheated. If I had to pick sides, I'm going with Jacob on this one because Laban cheated first. But anyway, that's sort of where we are, and I guess we'll see what happens next. Genesis 31, verses 1 to 21. Now Jacob heard that the sons of Laban were saying, "Jacob has taken all that was our father's. He has gained all his wealth from what belonged to our father." And Jacob saw that Laban did not regard him as favorably as he did before. Then the Lord said to Jacob, "Return to the land of your ancestors and to your kindred, and I will be with you." So Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah into the field where his flock was, and he said to them, "I see that your father does not regard me as favorably as he did before, but the God of my father has been with me. You know that I have served your father with all my strength, yet your father has cheated me and changed my wages 10 times. But God did not permit him to harm me. If he said, 'The speckled shall be your wages,' then the flock bore speckled. And if he said, 'The striped shall be your wages,' then the flock bore striped. Thus God has taken away the livestock of your father and given them to me. During the mating of the flock, I once had a dream in which I looked up and saw that the male goats that leaped upon the flock were striped, speckled, and mottled. Then the angel of God said to me in the dream, 'Jacob.' I said, 'Here I am.' He said, 'Look up and see all that the goats that leap on the flock are striped, speckled, and mottled. For I have seen all that Laban is doing to you. I am the God of Bethel, where you anointed a pillar and made a vow to me. Now leave this land at once and return to the land of your birth.' Then Rachel and Leah answered him, 'Is there any portion or inheritance left to us in our father's house? Are we not regarded by him as foreigners? For he has sold us and has been using up the money given for us. All the property that God has taken away from our father belongs to us and to our children. Now then, do whatever God has said to you.' So Jacob arose and set his children and his wives on camels. And he drove away all his livestock, all the property that he had gained, the livestock in his possession that had acquired in Padam Aram, to go to his father Isaac to the land in the land of Canaan. Now Laban had gone to shear his sheep, and Rachel stole her father's household gods. And Jacob deceived Laban the Aramean, in that he did not tell him that he intended to flee. So he fled with all that he had. Starting out, he crossed the Euphrates and set his face towards the hill country of Gilead." With a couple of little moments there. There it is. And what are we to do with this today? So I had mentioned yesterday that this strange mating or breeding system that Jacob comes up with does seem to be somewhat inspired by God, in that God has been speaking to Jacob and advising him in this. So this is not just Jacob the trickster, although it's Jacob the trickster, but it's Jacob the trickster and God in this. So there seems to be some presence of God. I think I've asked before, yesterday, the day before, it's like, where is God in this story? This is just, we don't seem to have God in here. We evoke God every now and again, but I don't know that God's active. Now we hear about God being active and saying to Jacob, listen, this is, you're being ripped off, and I'm going to help you. Although Jacob does sort of help, right? So he says, well, he said they'd be striped, they'd be mine, and then all of a sudden they were striped. They said they'd be speckled, they'd be mine, all of a sudden they'd be speckled. Like God must have done that. That's what he says to his wives. But in fact, we know that he was using a very specific breeding technique before. But it was also encouraged and ordained by God, it would seem. So, again, the trickster remains the trickster because God can use even the trickster. Which isn't to say that there aren't consequences, right? So it's fine perhaps it's fine for Jacob to be the trickster. That's who he is, and that's how God uses him. But he is now running away from his father-in-law. Jacob is really good at burning bridges. The one bridge he doesn't seem to be able to burn is his bridge with God, but that's because God is insistent. I mean, if you think about it, he burned the bridge with his brother Esau. Absolutely did. Burned the bridges with his father by lying to him. Although his father does forgive him, but why, we may speculate, wonder about that. Now he's burning bridges with his father-in-law. Now, could he do anything else? I don't know. But I think that we recognize that one of the oh my goodness, I'm sorry, I can't believe I'm just sort of pausing here. Now you know this is not edited. One of the consequences of being a trickster is relationships are damaged. Right? So he does seem to have a good relationship right now with Rachel and Leah, which is kind of nice. So this has taken a little time. I mean, we read this day after day after day, but from Rachel and Leah having the rivalry with the kids to this moment, it's been about another 6 years, because now I see Rachel and Leah seem to be getting along. They are answering together. They seem to be prepared to go together. So there has been some growth. So it's neat to see that his relationship with Rachel and Leah seems to be okay. Note, he goes and he asks them. He asks them. He doesn't just say, okay, we're leaving. He says, okay, listen, I need to make my case with you. Okay, so this is what your father has done, and so I want to leave. And they agree with him. Had they not agreed with him, I don't know if he would have left without them or what he would have done. But the fact is, he has recognized their agency. He has treated them like human beings. And I find that interesting when I think back to Rebecca, Laban's sister, to Rebecca, and when asked if she was ready to go to meet Isaac, to be her husband, she agreed. In fact, there was a delay offered, and she said no, she wanted to do it. Even though her mother wanted to slow things down, she didn't. She had agency. And so here I see Rachel and Leah also having agency. So Jacob is not damaging this relationship. Good for him. What's changed? Well, I think, and I know this is a 21st century reading of this, but for me, Jacob is growing in faith again. You recall that I was wondering what was going on. I was having all the babies, God's opening wombs, closing wombs. I wonder whether that's true or just saying it, but we're not talking to God or about God, really. Now, we're 6 years later, and God has spoken to Jacob in dreams. And Jacob has been speaking to God and listening to God, and now it's time to go. What Jacob wanted to do originally, 6 years ago, was go home. And now God is saying, yeah, now let's go home. Jacob is listening to God. So I have to believe that Jacob is growing in faith. He's growing in his relationship with God. He's recognizing that this isn't all about him as much as he's the trickster. And by the way, he is succeeding in all ways that people measure. Note that Laban's other sons are like, Jacob's ripping us off. He's having all that success, but he is not satisfied with that success, because I believe that he is growing in faith. And in growing in faith, he now recognizes that, one, that success is not everything it's cracked up to be. And two, he needs to regard his wives as more than chattel or property. He's actually speaking to them as human beings. And as I wonder about that personally, and I'm just talking about me today in 2022, when I think about that, I recognize that the better my relationship with God, the more I'm listening to God, the more I'm confident in my faith with God, not arrogant, but comfortable in my relationship with God. The more I am in that, the easier it is for me to regard you or anybody else as a full human being, to listen to them, even if they might say something I don't want. Right? I trust in God, therefore I'm willing to sit down and put everything on the table with you, because I believe that God loves us both, and whatever we need to do, we're going to get there because God's going to help us get there. Okay? I don't know where there is necessarily, so I'm talking a theoretical thing here. But to me, that's exactly what Jacob has done here. He's sat down with his wives and told his story, hoping that they will say, yes, let's go. But I think also prepared for them to say, no, not now. Or no, not ever. And I don't know that he has a plan B or what he's going to do, but he's trusting God to either come up with the plan B or help the plan A come to happen. And when I am at my best in terms of my faith and my relationship with God, I can do that very thing. I can sit down with you, put it all on the table. When I am not so sure, when I'm hedging my bets, when I'm not trusting God so much, I may not really want to hear what you have to say. So I might push you away from the table. I might try to manipulate you into doing the thing that I want instead of just letting it happen. I might bring another voice in or create a coalition so that we together can overwhelm you, because I know you might say a thing I don't want to hear, or you might it might invite me to do a thing that I don't want to do. And so I am, when I'm relying only on me, I am less likely to truly listen to you. When I am relying on God, when I am in good relationship with God, then I'm very happy to listen to you. If you are my friend, if you are my partner, if you are my enemy, if you are a stranger, I'm happy to listen to you. I met a minister recently who has a different take on the Christian faith than I have, very, very different. And he was worried that it would cause a rift between us. I said, well, no, why would that be an issue? I'm fine with that. And he offered me a book that explained the faith. He said, well, actually, there's a more complicated book, but this is this more simple one. And I just want you to read this just so you understand how I view Jesus, how I view God. And again, he was afraid that because we're different, or because he'll reveal himself as believing something different than I believe, that we might not be able to be friends or be able to be mutually supportive. And so I admired him taking that risk. But as I said to him, I said, I'm quite happy. You're not a threat to my faith. My faith is good. You might share something with me that enhances my faith, and I'll be thrilled to have it. You might give me something that is completely contrary to my faith, but that's okay. It's not like I'm going to lose my faith because someone disagrees with me. And I realized in that moment, yep, right now I am feeling very good with God. I am feeling very comfortable, and I'm feeling in a good relationship with God. There have been times in my life when I don't want to hear your book, or maybe more to the point, I want to argue with you right now about how your faith is wrong, not as good as mine. ill-conceived, not fully thought out, all sorts of things that I can do that will just push yours away so that I feel more comfortable in mine. Why do I need to feel more comfortable in mine by pushing you away? Because I'm not as set with God as I think I am. I think that Jacob has come to a time when he is in a much better relationship with God. And so he is prepared to ask his wives and listen to what they have to say, even at the risk of them wanting to do something different, even at the risk of having to go to a plan B that he has not even yet imagined. He's trusting in God for that. That's my takeaway. That's my wondering for the day. Not just to pat myself on the back, go, oh, I think I have good faith with that I'm in good relationship with God. But to wonder why is that and what's different from when I didn't feel as confident, and use that tomorrow when I don't know whether I'll feel stronger or weaker in my faith. So this is an invitation to me. As I wonder what's changed in Jacob, I can also look at myself in times that I have changed and wonder what has changed in me, and learn how to value that. I think I'm going to leave it there right now. There's lots in this story, and I commend it to you. I hope there's good wondering. And after you've wondered, well, I hope you keep wondering. And after that, I hope you have a great weekend, and I hope you come back Monday, because the story is far from over. But for now, let me offer a prayer. Loving God, thank you for the gift of faith. I mean, it's called a gift because you make it possible. You give us faith, and yet it is a gift that requires us to participate as well. So thank you for the opportunity to participate in faith, to listen, to dare, to grow closer to you. We pray through the Holy Spirit and in Jesus' name. Amen. Like I said, that's it for me. So, so God bless you. Have a terrific weekend. And, this t-shirt was made for me by a friend. Evan Smith makes amazing t-shirts. And loving yourself is a revolution. I just thought that's something I can wear. And I love this shirt. And so let the revolution continue. Please love yourself because God loves you. God not only loves you, God uses you. God's love moves through you. That's what it is to be blessed. So God bless you. And we'll see you on Monday.